Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you all for plugging into our call tonight. And I think we got some technical difficulties, so hold on if you would, just 1 second. I think that might have cleared it up. You know, technology works real good when it works, and when it doesn't work real good. So I apologize for that. But let me just make these a few quick adjustments here, and I believe we'll be good to go. I think that's it. Well, thank you all for plugging into our call tonight. We appreciate it more than we can tell you. We're going to talk about a subject tonight that we believe is life-changing. And any of the team members that are on the call tonight, if you can't hear me, send me a text, shoot me a text so I know to make another adjustment. So I got cameras here and computers here and iPads here. And I tell you, Zoom has changed the whole world. But what Zoom has not done is made things better financially for a lot of really good people. And they are doing things in a way to where they're leaving themselves in a bad situation financially. They're working sometimes 40 years, 45 years, and sometimes even longer. I'm not talking about folks that are robbing banks and abandoning the kids and hurting people. I'm talking about really good people, folks that open the door for the lady and say, please and thank you, and no ma'am, and yes ma'am, and yes sir, and no sir. Did everything right, or went by the books, graduated from college, kept all the rules, all the guidelines, all the bylaws. But at the end of the month, they can barely make the ends come together. And ladies and gentlemen, something is wrong with that. And our job is to come in and do the very best we can to change that and show families how it just simply doesn't have to be that way. We're going to talk about tonight something called how money works. And we're going to deal with a few basic fundamental things here. One is take control, because if we don't take control of our finances will control us, and we'll find ourselves like a puppet on a string, doing whatever the urge says do. And it puts us further and further behind. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about tonight. We're also going to talk about time and consistency. We're going to talk about deferring taxes. We're going to talk about buying the right kind of life insurance. And we're going to talk about investing money with professional money management. We're going to talk about paying yourself first and why it's so important to pay yourself first. We're going to talk about paying off debt. And we're going to talk about also becoming an owner and not a loaner. And these are basic financial fundamentals. This is nothing earth-shaking or rocket science. If we do these fundamental things, we can change the course in our direction. We can do a course correction. It's not going to take 15 years to get it done. It's going to take making a decision and then sticking with a game plan. So the first thing we're going to talk about is taking control. Because, ladies and gentlemen, control has to be taken. And it doesn't yield itself voluntarily. As a matter of fact, it dies screaming. And it's important then that we take some time, put some things on paper, get a little help, and then also go on to take that control. Well, there's a few things we have to do in order to take control. One is pay ourselves first. Number two is adjust the priority. You see, if we pay ourselves first, put money back for the long term, put money back for down the road, priorities tend to adjust themselves out automatically. The next thing is change the way we think. The fourth thing is adjust the lifestyle. The fifth thing is earn additional income. And sometimes, for whatever the reason, people don't want to work part-time because they feel that somebody, my friend, is going to think I need something. And they're going to think that I really don't have it going on like they thought I had it going on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say something here as humble as I know how. The friends that think about what you think they're thinking about ain't really thinking as much as you think they're thinking. And on top of that, they're not going to pay your water bill, your light bill, your gas bill, your cable TV. They're not going to buy any groceries, not going to send you on vacation, not going to pay for your child's tuition, not going to pay for your daycare, none of that. So it's important then for us to do what has to be done, what we need to do to get that job done. The sixth thing is avoid the credit trap, and credit is a trap. And the seventh thing is to set a goal and have a plan. I was talking to a coach last night that said something that really stuck with me. He's a basketball coach. He talked about the importance of having, we were talking about financial planning and all we're talking about now. He said he want to see it on paper. When he says if he sees it on paper, he says he can push through because he sees the end game. If he sees it on paper, he sees the need and the motivation to stay with it and get it done. And that's why it's important to have a game plan, have something on paper. Now, it's important also not to worry about the things that we cannot control. Ladies and gentlemen, there are certain things that I don't care what we say. I don't care how much we talk to our neighbor. We can't control certain things. Things like we can't control the future of Social Security. Some call it social insecurity. I can't control my job. I can't control taxes. I can't control inflation. I can't control stuff going up. I can't control the rise or fall of any single investment. So it's important then that we don't put a lot of energy on things that we cannot control, but we concentrate in getting the house together, the financial house in order on the things that we can control. The things that we can control is putting something back for retirement. We can control, here it is again, other sources of income. And whatever that may be, for somebody that's one thing, for somebody that's something totally different, for some that may be working with us as an independent contractor, learning how money works and showing other folks how money works. This is a mission, what we're doing here. It is a passion, it is a conviction, it's a rally call to help a lot of good people to get the financial house in order. Maximizing the savings, we can control that. Saving more money, diversifying our money, not putting all our eggs in one basket. Ladies and gentlemen, we can control that. Everybody can't put aside large sums of money, but everybody can put aside something, $25 a month. Some can do 35, some can do 150, some can do 500, some can do 1,000. But it's important that everybody that we talk to do something for down the road, because down the road is coming. And a lot of folks gonna get down the road and gonna be really, really upset and really surprised. So we're doing all that we can. We're sharing this message as hard as we can to encourage them not to wait and get down the road and have to struggle and strain trying to get home. Now, another important thing is pay yourself first. Let's talk about what does it mean to pay yourself first. You see, most of the folks that's on this webcam tonight, this Zoom meeting tonight, work 40 hours a week, some work 70 hours a week, some work even more. And you putting in all the time, getting up in the morning, staying late at night, working all real fast in between, bringing work home. With that being the case, it's very important to pay ourselves first. Now let's talk about that. Let's say you make a certain amount of money, but it's not what you earn or what we earn that's a real big deal. What's a real big deal is what we keep, ladies and gentlemen. Now let me tell you what I mean when I say what we keep right here. So let's say that you make $50,000 a year. $50,000 every single year for the last 40 years. And that means that in that period of time, $2 million went through your hands. If this is your case or my case, $2 million went through our hand last 40 years. Well, let's say that we managed to save 25,000 of 2 million. That means that we've only put back 1.25% of all of our income. You say, Ricky, you forgetting something, right? You forgetting that we got to pay Uncle Sam. And he takes his off the top. I understand what you're saying. So let's say Uncle Sam takes $500,000 of it. And that means there's a net of 1.5 that went through our hand. If we save 1.25%, that's probably still about $18,000, $19,000 from 1.5 million. So we've got to make a change, ladies and gentlemen. So what we're doing now and what we're teaching with all that we have in us, that the folks that we talk to, our family, our friends, we've got to be willing to make the change and speak the truth in love. When I say speak the truth in love, accountability, and tell the person the truth. If I keep doing what I'm doing right now, it's going to hurt the family and it's going to hurt me and us down the road. So how do we change this? We got to get a 3-account system. What do you mean a 3-account system? Most people that we've talked to, ladies and gentlemen, need to have at least 3 different accounts. Well, when I say 3 accounts, one is an emergency fund. Well, what exactly then is an emergency fund? Well, this is for emergencies. I got a friend of mine that's one of our church members, a very close relative of mine had to have a heating and air replaced. So they're taking out of the gas and putting in a heat pump in a mobile home. And that's going to cost about $7,000 to get that done. Well, you know what? That's an emergency because it's going to be real hot this summer. And to be in a mobile home and not have any air, my goodness, I mean, you know, I'm from the South. I'm a country boy. And we said, if you don't have no air, you're going to sweat like a pig, okay? It's going to be sure enough hot inside that trailer. Well, that's an emergency to have that done. If the car goes out, that's an emergency to have that replaced. Another important account that we got to have is a short-term account. When I say a short-term account for the next 3 years, plan on buying a car, want to have a good down payment, want to pay cash for that car, want to put aside $500 a month, $600 a month, as if that's a car payment. And in 3 years, it may be you have so much, you see how much money you got saved in 3 years or 4 or 5 years. You say, wait a minute, I don't think I want to get that car. I think my car I got now running pretty good. You see, it's important. This is a short-term account, a down payment on a home in the next 5 years. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the next 5 years will pass, whether we do something or not. 6 months going to pass just like that. The third account is this long-term savings investment account. You see, all of us on this webcam tonight, we're going to get old one day. How we define old in so many different ways now. You know, 65 is the new 55. You know, 55 is the new 45, 75 is the new 65. I understand that, okay? And we feel good. We're taking a pill. We're walking. We're drinking a lot of water. Everybody feels real good now. But we're going to get old one day, however we define old. And it's important to plan for a place that we're going to be in for the rest of our lives. That place is our future. How do we get that done? We got to put money in the 401ks at work and the Roth IRAs if you don't have anything at work, or the TSPs, whatever you have on your job, that's a tax sheltered account. We're going to look at that this afternoon. We should contribute to that, ladies and gentlemen, because listen, I told a person the other day, you know, you're going to be your own caregiver down the road. You're going to be your own caregiver down the road. And so whatever you put aside now is for you down the road, because your kids may not be there, may not even have the time. I hate to tell y'all that tonight. We got to use time and consistency. And we want to get the young folks to understand, they understand the time because they're so young, 21 years old, 18 years old, 25 years old, 24 years old, young. Okay, just getting out of school or got out of trade school, got a good job, got their own business, a gig generation, don't like W-2s, embrace 1099s, want to control their own future, work on their own time, contract work, they understand all that process, got the time. The piece that we're trying to encourage them to embrace is the consistency, to start and continue, not start and stop, not fall prey to procrastination. I'm going to get around to it. I'm going to do it. You see, ladies and gentlemen, here's a case here where they wanted to have at least $566,000 saved here. Let's 566 saved. Want to have that saved by the time they get to 67 years old, and all they got to save is $100 a month. Saving $100 a month, starting at 25 years old, they're going to have $566,000 saved. But if they wait 1 year until they're 26 years old, that's going to cost them $49,770. Just waiting 1 year. That is, again, procrastination, putting it off for 12 months. If they wait until they're 30 years old, that's going to cost them $209,000. If they wait until they're 40 years old, that's going to cost them $449,000. You see, there are certain things that we really should not procrastinate, because it's going to be the assassination of our determination. So it's critical that we go ahead and get those things done, because it's for tomorrow, and tomorrow is definitely coming. I want you to write down something called the rule of 72. And what this rule says, if I divide my rate of return into the number 72, it's going to approximate the number of years it takes my money to double. So let's say that I'm getting a 3% rate of return. Well, 3 goes into 72 24 times. This 3 right here. So it's going to take it 24 years to double if all I'm getting is 3%. So it goes from 10,000 to 20,000 in 24 years, and from 20,000 to 40,000 in 24 years. But if I'm getting 6%, it's going to double then every 12 years here. So it goes from 10 to 20, from 20 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160. It's going to double every 12 years. But if I'm averaging 12%, ladies and gentlemen, I'm averaging 12%, it's going to double every 6 years. So 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, 326, 40, 1.2, $2.5 million. The same 10,000 over the same period of time, one has 2.5 million and the one next to him have 160,000. You know, something is wrong. Okay, when we put money back in a place, and the banks know this, all right, the banks understand this, and they're giving us a small pension of what our money could have earned and would have given us. And I'm gonna say something now, this is not to offend anybody, but saving money in a bank for long term, well, I better not say that because I may offend somebody, but listen, I'm just gonna say it this way. It ain't a good thing to do, okay, for the long term. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about here, Albert Einstein said this: compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe, ladies and gentlemen, because it's your money, my money, our money, making money on top of money, on top of money, on top of money. So the objective is then to make the money go to work, but the money has to be with the right employer. Money works 24 hours a day. Don't call in sick. Don't go on vacation. Don't take any time off. Don't take any breaks. It's 24 hours a day. But it has to be with the right employer, because if not, it's not going to work the kind of way it needs to work. But there's another enemy that we have to deal with. This other enemy, his name is debt. It's so easy to get it, ladies and gentlemen, but it can be very hard to get rid of it. So here you got a place, they started right here out of school, out of college, out of trade school, got a job, got a business, and they just started climbing, building that debt mountain, building the mountain called debt, get to the very top here, and they overload it. And they can't hardly take it. And something walks in the room. What walks in the room, Ricky? His name is Pressure. His name is pressure. His name is, if I spell it right, I hope I spell it right, but the point is pressure. And pressure will burst an iron pipe. Pressure will burst an iron pipe, ladies and gentlemen. And so if we don't get that debt under control, and somebody don't tell us to stop digging, which is why it's important to have a coach. It's important to have a coach in volleyball, basketball, softball, track, football, baseball. It's important to have a coach in financial planning as well, because if not, left to our own devices, we'll keep on digging. Generally, not always, but generally we'll keep on digging. And so we got to work on a game plan, because listen to this. If this guy right here just miss a step, just miss one step, this whole boulder gonna come down the hill, and boy, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna bowl him completely over, and it ain't gonna be nothing nice at the end of that, at the very bottom. So it's important then that we have a game plan to knock this debt out. Well, how do we do that? Well, that's something that we have. It's called debt stacking. It's an old concept called the snowball effect. So let's look at how this works now. They got a credit card over here that's $220 a month. But when that credit card is paid out right here, they're gonna take this $220 and add it to this other credit card, which is $353 now. Now they're gonna send them $573. Now that credit card is all gone. This is called debt stacking. Now, when that credit card is all gone, they're gonna take this $573 that was going to them, add that to the car payment. And they're gonna send the car now $1,124. Now this car loan is already gone. Now they got $1,124 freed up. They're gonna take this $1,124, they're gonna add this over here to this other credit card number one, and they're gonna send them what? $1,427 a month. Now this credit card number one is all gone. Now they're gonna take this $1,427 here, add it to the mortgage, which is $1,293, and send them the entire $2,720. In a short period of time, the mortgage is going to be gone, and they got $2,700 that they can do what? Invest. They can put that money somewhere, make that money start working for them, ladies and gentlemen. You see, so they don't have to say, all right, hallelujah, I got $2,700 freed up, boy, you know what? I'm going to get me a brand new one. whatever it's going to be spanking brand new. We encourage them, don't do it. Okay. Let's look down the road, because at some point the kids going to be growing, going to have grandkids, right? So we got to plan. We've got to plan, ladies and gentlemen. So how do we get that done? So what are the results? If we don't do it, that's going to be 23 years to pay that debt off. If we don't do it, we're going to pay $214,000 in interest alone. And what's amazing, we're only paying out $27.20 per month. We're going to pay $214,000 in interest alone. So we've got to make a change. So now if we put together a game plan, put some things in writing, have a strategy, run a zone on this money. Okay, here's what I call it. Okay, OED. That's organized economic defense. Organized economic defense. What's organized economic defense going to do if we do this? Well, we're going to be out of debt in 9 years. In 9 years, as opposed to 23 years over here. We're going to avoid $130,000 in interest. $130,000. So rather than paying $214, we're only going to pay $83. What's amazing, we're paying the same thing out every month. Organized economic defense, running a zone on that money, running a 212 on that money. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, we don't have to do man to man. We don't have to do it all by ourselves. Let's run a zone on that money, and let's put together. And this is why it's important to have a strategy. And that's what we're trying to get the community that we talk to, all the friends, neighbors, loved ones, your church members, going to church every Sunday, but crying every Saturday night. Hey, we're trying to put together a game plan to show them how that don't have to be the case. Now let's talk about what thing we got to avoid. Something we have to avoid is not putting value on the credit. Okay, what I mean, I'm going to co-sign for everybody, and you know they don't plan on paying that thing back. So that's not putting value on the credit. Number two, raising credit card limits. So the credit card limit now is $5,000. Then they raise it up to $15,000 because you got a phone call from Visa and they say, you are a Ricky, you know what? You're one of the best customers we ever had. You're a beautiful, wonderful customer. We're going to take you up we're going to triple your limit. They got a way to make you feel real good. And then not having a monitor on the credit history. How many times were we 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days late? Because you know what's going to happen? If I'm 30 days late, 60, 90 days late, over time, it's going to affect something else that's really important. It's going to affect that credit score. Some call it your FICO, your beacon score. And so they want to look at this young couple. They said, listen, I'm making good income. I want to buy a home now. And the bank pull up that credit report and say, your FICO score is 400 and we can't help you. And they don't understand because nobody sat down and showed them the importance of being on time, the importance of putting things on a bank draft so it's never late. And as a result of that, these are not bad people. They just wasn't informed, which is what we're doing tonight. We're going to have another meeting after this meeting tonight in 2 more weeks. And we're going to get that out there, team. And I want to encourage the team and the guests to plug back in because there are going to be some things we're going to cover tonight that you won't be able to hear because this going on, that going on, TV program going on, kids in the background. But the next meeting, you'll hear it again. And we're going to do another meeting in approximately 2 more weeks from now. The fifth thing is not knowing the interest rate and the fees. So here's a young man, got out of college, said, I need me a car. He went down to a car lot. The man said, listen, son, listen, I like you. You're just a manable young man. You said, yes, sir. You gonna ride today. He said, sir, I'm gonna ride today. He said, son, you gonna ride today. He said, sir, what's my payment gonna be? He said, son, it's only gonna be 60. It's gonna be $125 a week. That's all. He said, I can handle that because I'm making $500 a week, sir. He said, I know you can handle it, son. I just believe in you. And he said, what's the interest rate gonna be, sir? He said, son, don't worry about that, son. You want to ride? Yes, sir, I want to ride. Well, don't worry about that. He got home and look at the finance charges, 29.99%. But you know what? He riding today. So the next thing is buy the right life insurance. Now I want to show you something here, ladies and gentlemen. on buying the right life insurance here now. Now, this right here that I'm gonna show you is very important. Here's a husband over here. I'm gonna trace it. I'm not a good artist, so I gotta trace it. And so look at this man on the side over here. This is a husband, all right? But all of a sudden, he's gone. And they still have the economic winds and rains coming on his wife and children. If they don't have a game plan in place, they're gonna have to struggle and strain trying to get home. It's important that we make sure that our families are covered correctly. Nobody came here to stay. If all of a sudden they die and leave that income, whatever he's making, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 a month, a year, 30, 40, 50, 60, it's gone. And something got to replace that loss of income. Now, what I mean by that is this. In the early years, we got to have a lot of coverage. You know why? Because why we got to have a lot of coverage, Rick? And why we got to be covered so much in the early years in life insurance? Why do they call this generational wealth and legacy planning and leaving an inheritance for the kids' kids? Why? Well, here's why right here. The kids are young in the early years. We got high debts in the early years. We got a mortgage in the early years. The loss of an income in the early years is going to be rough. But as time goes on, the need for life insurance is going to start going down, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to need less and less life insurance as I get older. And we're going to need more and more and more cash as we get older. We got to have something we can use while we're walking on top of the ground as we get older. But if somebody dies prematurely, it's just only right to make sure that they're covered. We got to also defer taxes. What I mean by saying deferring taxes here? Well, I'm going to look at just one particular part in the middle here. And let's say you got a person here on this side that they're putting aside at least, well, let's call it about $560 a month on an average. Saving about $560 per month. Now they're putting aside and paying taxes every year. Don't have it in no kind of tax shelter. And so in 30 years, they got $404,000. But the next door neighbor put theirs in a Roth IRA. And in that Roth IRA, they got $629,000 because they're not paying any taxes on the earnings. The taxes are deferred. Then there are those that got a 401k over here, see? And they put their money in the 401k, they're not paying any taxes on what they put in, tax deductible, nor what it earns, tax deferrable. Now, when they take it out, they're going to pay taxes, right? But not while it's going in. That's a big deal. You got a 401k, something that works, ladies and gentlemen, it's just important to contribute. And if they're matching, it's doubly important to contribute. Because if not, we're giving away money. Now, what's the difference in a traditional and a Roth IRA? Well, you can put $6,500 a year in both of them if you're under 50 years old. If you're over 50 years old, you can put a grand total of $7,500 a year. You got a catch-up provision. The money grows tax deferred, but you're going to pay taxes when you take it out. That's not a bad thing. That's just the way the system is designed. In a Roth IRA, you can put aside the same thing per month based on those ages. The money also grows tax deferred, but it's tax free when you take it out. If you hold it for at least 5 years, so the first 5 years, just don't touch that Roth IRA. When you take that money out, you can take that money out and pay Uncle Sam nothing. No taxes, no penalties. Listen, that's a real big deal right there. And it's important to understand that. Now, also become an owner and not a loaner. When I say become an owner and not a loaner, let's put our money where the banks are putting theirs. And let's not save money at 0.5%. And got all this money in the bank and they send you a check for $15. Say, Mr. Johnson, you got one for $15 a day. Hey, listen, we want to bypass the middleman. Now, the middleman is the bank. So we're saying here, we want to bypass the middleman and put our money where the banks are putting theirs. Where are the banks putting theirs? There's a simple concept. And we can't depend on what we advisors have told people to depend on for a lot of years. We can't depend on that three-legged stool anymore. We got to go outside this three-legged stool, ladies and gentlemen, because it ain't working. Social Security don't look so secure anymore, right? A lot of pensions have gone away. Personal savings is at an all-time low. And so we've got to put our money in a place where we can get a much better return. So how are we going to get that done? You see, The typical investor don't have the time to do all that. So we got to have professional money management, ladies and gentlemen. Professional money management. So what then is a mutual fund? A mutual fund is a whole lot of people that has the opportunity to put our money, to pool our money under the management of professionals. This is not an investment club where I'm trying to guess, I'm trying to research, I'm working a full-time job trying to guess what we're gonna put it in this week. No. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying a mutual fund, they got a full-time commitment. They've been around since the 1920s. And they pull that money together and getting a return in this global economy. So what do you mean global economy, Ricky? If I look at my home now, I got this is the Apple Pencil right here. Okay, I got an Apple Pencil right here. I got an iPhone right here. I got 2 computers, an iPad, all over the place. So I want to get a return on where I'm already spending my money. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 Ds as I get ready to bring this meeting to a close here tonight that I want you to think about. Dollar cost averaging. All we're saying is decide on an amount of money and put it aside every single month, $50 a month, and don't stop regardless. Then also have the discipline to continue. We talked about diversification, not having all your eggs in one basket. And I want to close by saying this. Yes, we can. Yes, we can get out of debt. Yes, we can build savings. Yes, we can get on the path to financial independence. Yes, we can. It's not just a political slogan, a campaign. You can make it your campaign, our slogan that we can rally the troops around. Yes, we can. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all have a great rest of the night. And thank you for plugging in. I've almost got choked here for getting so excited about yes, we can. Take care.